Welcome to Insights with Nandu. So in the last video, we talked about the responses to the COVID crisis and what sectors are going to do well, what sectors are going to do badly, and how can businesses respond to the COVID crisis to actually come out ahead. The first thing is to recognize that there is a crisis. Everything starts with that. Because if you just put your head in the sand and pretend the crisis is going to go away like an ostrich, chances are you will probably have missed several opportunities along the way. First thing, recognize there is a crisis. Second thing, do scenario planning of what could happen in the crisis. How long will the crisis last? And make plans for each of these. Now, having done that, when you look at the threat response and the opportunity response at a strategic level, what research shows us is that a successful response is neither a threat response nor an opportunity response. The secret is embedded in the Chinese concept of Weiji, which is the Chinese word for a crisis. It has two symbols. The first symbol means hidden danger. The second symbol means opportunity. In Japanese, this is kiki. So the principle is this: every crisis brings with it danger and opportunity. To deal with the danger, you need a threat response. To deal with the opportunity, you need to find a way to recognize and exploit the opportunity. So a successful response to a crisis requires you to have a threat response and an opportunity response. They both have to be there to be successful. Either one alone will not succeed. What could a threat response look like? A threat response would say, listen, I need to cut costs in the short term. So what can I renegotiate? Are there any discretionary expenses that I can cut? Can I go out and renegotiate the office rentals? Can I renegotiate any fixed costs that I have? Can I reduce the office space because people are working from home? As a last resort, several companies may choose to lay off people. And if they choose to lay off people, please remember to do it as humanely as possible, because you're letting them go to keep the company afloat. So as a first step, start at the very top to make your salary cuts. Take the pain at the top and then let it flow down so that people, at the lower end of the salary scale who have more stress on their home fires and survival, that they are kept on as long as possible. For sure, once you start to bounce back from the crisis, you're going to need all these people. So you need them motivated, you need them committed, you need them loyal. But ultimately, if you have to let go of people to keep the business afloat, some very good examples are in the way Uber and Airbnb let their people go. They helped outplace them, they gave them recommendations, they gave them an assurance that they would be the first in the list to be hired back when the business started to grow again. So do it with a lot of heart, do it with a lot of kindness. So the short-term message there is find a way to stay afloat. Find a way to build the absorption capability. Find a way to keep the short-term cash flow pressure under control. If you're a startup, try to cut the costs so you increase the runway of your existing cash. Even for large companies, this is the case. We talked about the Hertz case earlier, who filed for bankruptcy. And that basically meant that at some point they discovered that the amount of cash they had in hand wasn't sufficient to cover their operations. So the threat response says, do whatever it takes to be viable and to survive as a business. The opportunity response says, list what are my assets? What are my strengths? And this includes employees, it includes customers. And then ask yourself the question, what are those needs that my customers have? What are those strengths I can bring to meet those needs? Because this crisis has already also created gaps that other companies might not be able to fill. So can you find a way to fill those gaps? And are there new opportunities that come up that allow you to create a new business model? So a successful response to a crisis requires you to build at a strategic level a threat response with resiliency and an opportunity response. Both of them require a great deal of thought, a great deal of planning, and a great deal of involving your people in a transparent way to build these plans. Once you've built the plans, then you need to go out and test them and execute them with a lot of operational agility, because as you start to implement, you may discover that some actions are not possible because of the current situations. You may have to modify the actions a little bit. So you need to be very agile at an operational level, and you need to have a core team that is helping you navigate at a strategic level and at an operational level. While you're doing this, please be very aware of one thing that you should not compromise on, and those are: what is your core purpose as a company? What are your core values as a company? These core purposes, these core values, keep them always front and center. You do not want to accidentally fight short-term pressures, violate them, and then discover somewhere that you've lost your soul as a company. And there are many large companies who have made this kind of a mistake, and they are in the newspapers. You see Volkswagen with the emission scandal. Many companies have made mistakes when they've lost sight of this central North Star that guides their purpose and their values. So be very careful about that. The next thing in dealing with the crisis is, as you go through the crisis, communicate to your team, communicate to your people, communicate to your customers what you're doing, why you're doing, update this communication. And as you go through the crisis, capture all the learnings, because once this crisis is over, then you need to prepare for the next one, because for sure there will be a next crisis. Okay? These are very important learnings when it comes to dealing with the crisis, and more now to dealing with this specific crisis of COVID-19. I hope you found that useful and interesting. Now here's what I'd like you to do. If you liked the video, please click the like button. If there's something more you'd like to listen to, or a point of view that you have, please engage, please leave a comment, and I'll try and respond to it either directly or in future videos. And most importantly, if you liked the video or you found something relevant, please share it with your friends. Finally, please hit the subscribe button and also click the bell icon so you can get notifications whenever we post fresh videos. Thank you for being with us and help make this channel a success, so together we can explore many new areas and grow intellectually together.